Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Casual Sports Podcast. Just Mike and I today. Alek, taking a day off here. I want to wish Alek a happy 1-year anniversary for him
Yes.
and his fiance Abby. Want to shout that out there on the show today. He's taking a day between them, and that's good. Do that. Hopefully they have a good day together. But Mike, let's get into some sports here. All right.
Yep.
So before we get into everything here, forgot to do the Beast of the Week yesterday, so I'm going to do that
Oh,
right
that's right.
now. So Beast of the Week is definitely Devin Singletary, 16 yards, 16 carries, 81 yards.
Yep.
And that, yes, a lot of running backs do that, but he was doing that in like negative 10-degree weather. Like, that's unbelievable to hold on to the ball. And I mean, he made some pretty tough tough runs through, all these defensive linemen on the Patriots squad. There was one run he went right through. Matthew Judon was right there, and he just clicked right through him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely Beast of the Week going to Devin Singletary. Hopefully he can keep that up going into this week. It's going to be a tough matchup against the Chiefs. So, should be a good game.
Yeah, and Matt, that's a good award to give out because, like I said yesterday with that game, it's kind of shocking to see the Patriots defense play like that in the playoffs after how I thought they were playing for most part of the year. So, yeah, that's a good award for him because he tore him up pretty much.
Yeah. He definitely did. But before we get into professional sports here, I got to do a little bit of a high school preview here. I got the Badger Braves taking on their rival here, Matthews Mustangs, and this is going to be a game. Badger without one of their key players, Carter Burnett. He broke his arm in the Bristol game, so he's going to be out for the season, and that's just a huge asset that they're losing. The guy is great inside the paint. He can dunk. And he can rebound, so that's going to be definitely a spot they need to fill. Hopefully maybe his brother Cole Burnett can come in and fill the void a little bit. They're going to have to shoot the ball more on the outside because of that inside look is gone. And they did that last game, but wasn't enough to beat Chalker. But Jack Lendeck pulled off 48 points. So hopefully he can pull that another one of those tonight against Matthews. Maybe get Brad Hamilton going as well. And there's a couple other good shooters on that team, but they're 6-4, not a bad record. But Matthews, unbelievable. They're 12-1. It's gonna be a battle to win this game. It should be a pretty good game, but hopefully I get to call a good game tonight and not a blowout. I don't like to call blowouts on either end, honestly, because this has been a rival. Believe me, I went to Badger for 12 years. This is a rival, okay?
Yeah.
And I went out on YSN. I'm like, man, I want this game. Give me this game. They're giving me a color guide tonight, so hopefully I'm going to be running out of breath a lot because hopefully there'll be some exciting plays. I'm like, oh, my God. Hopefully he can provide some color there. That's going to be good. So, but moving on here, let's get into college basketball. We're gonna get in right into the top 10 here. Starting out with this is probably one of our best top 10s for college basketball. I gotta admit to this one, but starting out to number 10, we got UCLA at number 10. Mike, they're falling. They're falling off. They really are. I think they got a lot of hype in the season during the preseason, and now it's just falling off. Well, look for them to be possibly a huge upset in the March Madness tournament. I can definitely see that happening. Them getting upset big.
I think they started out hot. I think they carried off of what happened in the tournament last year. And I'm not saying they're a bad team, but
they're not a bad.
I feel like most of the year they were kind of floating up there, but I didn't really. Again, I gave them the credit, but I didn't really think they were, as good as who do we have at top? Like Gonzaga now, Auburn's up there, Purdue, Arizona's playing good. I just didn't really think they were in that category.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I mean, I like their players. I mean, Juzang is a phenomenal player, but I mean, they lost some tough games. They got blown out by Gonzaga, and I mean they lost. I mean, they are at 11-2, but the games that they have won haven't even been exciting. I mean, they got by Colorado. I mean, 73-61. I mean, you should be blown out, Colorado. Honestly,
yeah.
I know they beat them. But I mean Marquette as well, 67-56. They were hanging in with them that whole game. They had a lot of games postponed as well, and I mean they had the big one was against. I mean Long Beach State put 78 points up against them.
Yeah,
I mean, where's the defense there? And, they beat California by 12 points. California. Like, I don't know. They finally blow out, Oregon State, but, they're going to have some tough games coming up, including another matchup with Colorado, and they got Arizona coming up a lot. So, if they want to make me change my mind, these are the games to win, but hopefully they can do that. But moving on,
we'll see because
we'll see.
That game against Arizona got postponed. We don't know how that would have turned out. I like to think Arizona would have won it, but we don't know. And you had the 2 against Arizona State that got postponed as well. And like you said, some of their wins, they're good, but some of their losses aren't good either. Like California, they only beat them by 8? So it's got to be more than that. They blew out Oregon State, but yeah, they definitely can improve. But again, I just don't think they're in that category of like top tier teams once we get into the tournament. But things could change.
Yeah, but definitely anything can change, honestly. But moving on here to our number 9 spot, this team, man, I love watching this team and look for them to make some upsets. Number 9, Houston. Okay,
yep.
They're a tough team. Yes, they barely lost to Alabama, and they barely lost to Wisconsin too. Those are tough teams right there, and they've been blowing out everybody else that they've been playing. They beat Oklahoma State, who I think is not a bad team. Wichita State has always been in the March Madness tournament as well. They're winning games. They're winning them good too. So, like to see more from them. They did have a couple close games. They only beat Tulsa by 2, but you're going to have games like that. It's just they don't have games like that so often. They're going to happen every now and again. But 15-2, hopefully that they do kind of have a light schedule. They do. They don't play anybody that really sticks out in your mind. They got tough teams. Memphis, is on their schedule. So, they have tough teams to play, but hopefully they can, use these teams to, experiment more things and hopefully pull out some wins in this tournament. So it should be a pretty good year for them. They kind of shot out of nowhere, honestly. Houston hasn't been good since the 80s with Clyde Drexler. So it's good to see them kind of moving up through the rankings again. But some of their players are pretty good too. Kyler Edwards averaging 13.2 points per game. That's not bad, but he could do a little bit more. You have one guy. Your guy that's leading the team is Marcus Sasser, and that's 17.7 points. That's a little bit more good, to deal with, to work with. He can score. He can.
Yep.
He can pass off 2.6 assists. He can steal too, 2.2 steals per game as well. So that's one of their top 2 players, Sasser and Edwards. And, I like Jawan Roberts as well. He can rebound. So hopefully we can use these guys. They can use those guys to make some big wins here and in their own conference as well. So they look to be a shoo-in for their conference. So, but, you never really know. They're first in the American right now. So hopefully they can – pull off some bigger wins. They have some big games coming up, but like I said, their schedules, it's kind of like Gonzaga. Gonzaga has a couple big games out of the year, and then they go right to their division, and their division stinks. So this is kind of like Houston. So hopefully they don't get hyped up too much. I don't think they are right now. I kind of thinking of a sleeper team right now, but hopefully we can see more from them. Mike, what do you think about this Houston team?
Yeah, if I remember right, they had a decent run last year, didn't they, in the tournament? Or
yeah, I believe they did. I believe they did.
I feel like this is kind of the same with UCLA, or actually it's somewhat different because both teams they played with Wisconsin, we see how good they are now, and we see Alabama, they were 9 at the time. They lost both of them, and those were the 2 best games. Alek says all the time, I can forgive you losing one of them, but I'd like to see you win one of them for me to say, hey, this team, again, you can watch out for them, but hey, that they're actually this good, or they're at this level, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, I want to see them win games like that, and they don't really have games left like that on their schedule, but we'll see come tournament time. But that's kind of why I had UCLA. In my rankings, I had UCLA at 9, Houston at 10, but I know we had it flipped around. But you can go either way. I feel like they're kind of in the same boat with their losses and wins.
They're kind of the same team, honestly.
Yeah.
Just UCLA has a better resume. I guess they have better losses or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, moving on here, next spot, Kansas is sitting in here at the 8th spot. I mean, Kansas, I think they're one of the solid teams in this top 10. Honestly, Mike, they have some good wins. I like their players. Their coaching staff is good. They've been kind of hanging around here a little bit. You know, they jumped and they dropped. They jump and they drop. They're just hanging around that top 10. And you know, you got to look at teams like that. Who can? Sure, you're gonna have your number ones change here and there, but you gotta look at who can stay in this top 10 for pretty much the whole year. Teams like Kansas and Duke, they're gonna be hanging around there in that top 10, and you gotta look. Same with Purdue as well. You gotta look at teams like that, and Kansas is definitely one of those teams. They're definitely one of those contenders. I mean, it wouldn't be totally out of question to maybe pick them to get to, I don't know, Elite Eight, Final Four. It wouldn't.
Oh yeah,
maybe winning it. I mean,
I think that's their ceiling.
Yeah. So, yeah. Just like you said, the limit is the ceiling for them. So they have some big wins. I like the Michigan State win that they started out with. A lot of people will say, "Oh, they beat some soft teams. They beat Dayton. They actually lost to Dayton. They got upset to Dayton." But Dayton's a solid team. I mean, only a couple years ago that this Dayton team was supposed to be the main team.
Yeah.
But that was that 2019 where the whole COVID messed a lot of things up. But back when they had Obi Toppin, they beat the heck out of Missouri 102-65. They beat a good Iona Gales team, Mike. I
know you like that team.
I mean, Iona is really good. I like what Rick Pitino's done with them. I really have. Maybe we talk about them a little bit later, but I mean, they're 14-3. They have big wins. They've beaten Alabama, so hopefully we can see more from them. They've had some games postponed too, so they have some big games coming up as well. So, but more here on Kansas. I mean, they're definitely a top contender. I really think they are. And they've always been one of those teams that's there every year. I know we've seen teams like Kentucky, they've fallen off a little bit. Kansas is always a top contender. They've always have been, going back to like the 60s even. So
yeah.
What do you think here, Mike? What do you think they need to do to, possibly, like, do you think they can get to that number one spot, honestly?
What teams are in front of them? I definitely can. I mean, if Baylor has a couple more losses, yeah, why not? And if Arizona, they're going to beat each other up in the Pac-12, why not? Kansas keeps winning, why not make a run? They can. But
they do have a future matchup against Baylor, too.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Same conference.
And Kentucky as well. So they
have two at Baylor. So if they can get one of those and hope Baylor loses one or two more down the road, they can definitely sneak up. But with Tech, I mean, they lose that game against Texas Tech, and it was a close one. It's not like they got blown out. And Texas Tech's a good team. We talked about them. They beat Baylor. And, you bounce back with a win against Iowa State. They were 15th. Then you beat a West Virginia team like we keep talking about, Matt. They should be ranked.
Yeah,
but
they should be ranked.
They pretty much blew them out. It's 85. Yeah,
they whooped them pretty good. So.
And then tonight they got Oklahoma. I think that one's on ESPN, so I might actually watch that if I remember. But that's going to be kind of a good one too. It's at Oklahoma.
Looks like we're going to be previewing that game a little bit later, so we'll get to talk more about that. But Kansas, they're first in the Big 12. That's what it says here. But I mean, I like their players as well. But Mike, let's go ahead and move up to number 7 here. I know we like this team. This team is dangerous. Wisconsin. Okay, that's who we got ranked in here at 7. I like this Wisconsin team, Mike. I mean, I've said a lot about this Wisconsin team. What do you got? Yeah, I know you like them too. They're tough.
They're a tough team. They're a team that we talk about. If there's a team that like embodies what the Big Ten basketball play is, it's Wisconsin's one of them. Because you see them in the tournament in the past. You see the type of players they have. I know the last few years they've been like good, but not what they have been within the last few years. But they're 14-2 right now. I love that game they had against Ohio State. I didn't watch all of it, but I saw highlights. That was a good game, and I was expecting it to be a good game. And I think that win is kind of the reason why they're at where they're at right now. I think they're 8th in the actual polls.
That was a redemption game too, because they kind of got blown out by Ohio State in their first meeting, and they came out and said, "Hey, this is Big Ten play. Anything can happen." They did lose one other to Providence, but I think Providence is no slouch either. So they have good losses too. They have some tough teams coming up. I mean, let's just put it this way: they have a lot of Big Ten opponents that they have to play coming up here. I think that's like the rest of their schedule, honestly.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Northwestern tonight, Michigan State Friday. That'll be a good one.
They got Penn State coming up too, and Penn State is no slouch. Okay, I know they've lost some games, Big Ten teams are tough to play. Rutgers is too. Illinois is no slouch either. They're moving their way back up into the rankings. So look out for these teams. They got Michigan State as well in a couple right after they play Northwestern. So there's gonna be some tough matchups. So we're really gonna see like what this Wisconsin team really has to show. Like I know they've won some tough games already. They beat Purdue, like you just said. They beat Ohio State as well. So look out for them. Look out for this Wisconsin team. This is a team that could really make a push in this March Madness tournament, which is not far away. We're already almost done with January. Then you get February, March. That's it. It's coming.
It's mid-January. I mean,
mid-January.
Conference tournaments start what? Some point in March. So
some point in March. Yeah.
So
late February, March. So it's gonna be good. Basketball's coming.
Yeah.
We'll be talking a lot of basketball on this show.
Good stuff's coming.
I can't wait. And kind of doing this preview every day, like talking about college basketball every week, it's been making me pay attention, and hopefully I can do better in my polls because I'm actually paying attention to all these teams.
To this point, it's been kind of hard because
it's hard.
This is the point where it starts to get interesting.
There's a lot of good teams. We thought Purdue was going to be the team, but they have fallen a little bit. We thought Baylor was going to be that big team, but they have fallen off a little bit. We're seeing the mid-season slouches, and we're also seeing teams reemerge too, like Villanova,
like Arizona.
Villanova and Arizona as well. So we're starting to see the teams that are going to be here and stay, and we're seeing the teams that are falling off. Like I really think UCLA is falling off, honestly, but. For more on that, we'll talk about that. I think we'll talk West Virginia, or we'll talk Wisconsin here, I'm sure, sometime this week. I mean, I'm sure they get some top games that, Alek wants to talk about. So, but moving on here, number 6, of course, we've been talking about them all year, Mike. I've been high on them. You've been high on them as well. We have Duke here sitting at 6. It's a swan song season here for Coach K. They're trying to get one more for him. That's why I've been high on Duke. And this is a team, I just talked about them a second ago. This is a team that is sticking around for around that top 10. Because, I mean, they're a competitive team. I like the players they have. Of course, we think we're very highly of their coaches as well. But Duke, I mean, they've lost some games, yes. But, I mean, you'll have that. And you can't count them off because they lost some games. It's a long season, okay? It's very hard for somebody to win all these games. They're playing teams 2, even sometimes 3 times when you put conference championship tournaments in. So it's hard to beat teams consecutively. So we'll have to see more from Duke. Mike, what do you think?
I mean, you talk about them getting a number 1 seed, which, they're in position to do so. They're number 6.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know they had that Miami loss, but, it was only a 2-point loss, and I don't really know, looking at their schedule, who you can, really say they're going to lose to. I know upsets happen, but, who are you banking on them losing to? I really don't know. Maybe North Carolina, it's a rivalry game. They got them twice, so maybe one of them.
Maybe.
I don't know. But, yeah, Matt, they have it going right now. But I know Alek talked last week, and I kind of agree with him. I just hope that they don't try to focus too hard on just trying to get this for Coach K. Just go with the flow. Don't go through the motions, but just happens. Yeah.
Right, Mike?
Whatever happens, happens. Whatever,
it's no slack off your back. You got to look at it like that, okay? Yep. You lose a game. You can't be like, we got to win every game for Coach K. You got to play as hard as you can.
It's not going to happen.
For Coach K. They're not going to win every game. They're going to go out and play hard enough to win every game, but sometimes they're going to slip through their hands. I mean, they have some big wins on their resume. They have some big ones coming up as well. I mean, you did say that North Carolina game. I like how Virginia has been playing. Wake Forest is no slouch either. I mean, those are division teams, so it's different in their division. So you gotta look out for teams like that. But there are some games on here that they should win. So we'll just have to wait and see. They're actually oh man, I just realized that they actually go and play Pitt on March 3rd in Pitt. So maybe we'll have to try and get tickets.
I'd like to, but it'll probably be a fortune.
Yeah. We have to. I mean, that'd be cool to see.
We'll have to at least try.
Last year, yeah, we'll just have to try. We'll talk about that more later. But let's move on up here in the rankings. Here, let's move into number 5. Arizona is sitting at number 5. Mike, what do you think? What do you think about this Arizona team? They've fallen off and on a little bit, but I mean, they're truly a contender.
They had them, I think, the real polls at 3. I had them at 4. What'd you say? We had them at 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I keep saying I really didn't pay much attention to them, to start the year. But they had a win against Michigan. I know Michigan's not playing good anymore, but they beat them pretty handily. They have that loss to Tennessee. I would like to see that be a win, and they've had a lot of close moments as well. But 14-1, they're first in the Pac-12.
They have some
they got to be up there. Pac-12
too.
Is going to get better. It's not great, but it's starting to get better.
It is starting to get better. Yes, they've lost some tough games. That Tennessee game, but they have UCLA coming up soon, and that's where I really think UCLA will kind of fall off a little bit more, because I think Arizona can take UCLA down. So Arizona's got a tough team. I mean, we've talked a lot about Benedict Mathurin. This kid is a gem. This kid is something. Whoever drafts him is going to have a key player for the next 8 to 10 years. I really believe that. Benedict Mathurin, and he has room to improve as well, and that's all he's going to do. He's just going to improve and improve. He's only a sophomore, so he's only going to get better. So I'd like to see how he gets better and how he improves his game, in this season and then in the next couple of years too, unless he decides to go after next year. But he's at least going to have one more year of college play, and he's going to get way better than he is now. And he's pretty good right now. And that's what a lot of people look at when they say Arizona. This Benedict Mathurin kid is something to watch. So, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, he definitely is, and there's a lot of guys to watch. What these teams we're talking about.
I like Koloko too. Christian Koloko is cool. They have a pretty decent team. They have a good squad. So they've, like you said, they've lost some tough games, but I mean, I just said a little bit ago,
can't win them all.
Can't win them all. You'd
like to see them win games like that, but it doesn't always happen.
It's almost hard in every sport to go undefeated. Okay.
I think people don't realize how hard it is.
Football, we've seen it a handful of times. We've seen 11 and 12-0 teams. We've never seen teams go all the way to the Super Bowl besides that one team. And yes, the Patriots did go all the way to the Super Bowl, but they lost. But and that's going to be even more harder now that there's one extra NFL game. So
yeah. Nobody's going to do it in basketball. That's the thing with college basketball
or baseball.
That's the thing with college basketball. When people are doing these rankings and they're looking at, who the strength of schedules and all that, people expect them. Oh, you got to win this game and win this game, win this game. It's basketball. You're not going to win every game like college football. College football, you pretty much have to win every game.
Yeah,
you can get away with losing a game, but 2, you're done.
You can.
Yeah.
There's only
so it's not the same.
And half of these teams, if they would have tough schedules, they would lose.
Yeah.
So, that's all I pretty much got to say on Arizona. They're a complete team, and look out for them to make a run, honestly.
Yeah.
But moving into number 4 here, we had to drop them a little bit, but we've been high on them this whole season. We have Baylor in at 4. Mike, go ahead here. What do you think? What do you think they need to do here? Do you think it's just a little slump that they hit, or is this a start of a downfall, maybe?
I had them down at 5 in mine. No, but I'm not going to, they lose to Texas Tech. It's not a bad loss at all. You would have thought they'd win that game, but it was at home. You would have thought they'd win. Oklahoma State, that's a bad loss. But we got to, again, we were talking about this team. We were hyping them up. Not hyping them up, but we were giving them their respect because they were at 1. They're defending champs. They were 15-0. But again, you're not going to be perfect. We thought they were invincible. They're not. They're going to lose games. Everybody's going to lose games. And, but 2 in a row, though, that's kind of why you had to drop them. I can maybe argue dropping them a little bit further after the Oklahoma State loss, maybe 1 or 2 more spots down. But they're going to be fine at the end of the day. They're just going through a slump. You got to realize you have to have some type of – I've said this about teams in the past. I said this about, we're Cavs fans. I said about a Cavs and they were good. You have to go through some type of, slump.
Phase.
When you're a contender, you have to go through some type of slump because you can't think it's going to be easy. We're just going to get there. You have to go through something like this. And I think going back to last year when they won and to start this year, I'm not accusing them of saying it was easy, but it kind of felt like, hey, they're just above everybody else. They're just going to be fine. But
going through slumps make teams stronger and tougher. because they learn from their mistakes and they can build on them. And we've seen a lot of those teams do that. So we'll have to just see more from them. They have some tough games coming up, West Virginia and Oklahoma. We'll talk about that here coming up here very shortly. But let's go ahead and finish the rest of these rankings.
Yep.
We got sitting on number 4. We should build by a couple of these. Baylor was number 4. Number 3 is Purdue. They've been strong all year. We have them sitting in at 3. So, I mean, they're a tough team. They're Big Ten. I think they should be up there. I mean, they're ranked number 4 in the other polls. And, I mean, we didn't really have much change, from their polls to ours. So, dealing with Purdue at least. They lost some games, a couple of games, yes, but we've been talking about this all show. You're going to lose some games. Yeah. I like the resume they
especially
have.
In the Big Ten.
Yeah, especially in the Big Ten. Oh, they might lose a couple more. I mean, Big Ten is strong. They're tough. It's playing Big Ten teams is like walking on nails. And then under the nails are hot coals. Like, it's hard. It's hard to get across. So, I mean, then that's why I think they're one of the teams that could possibly make a huge run because they're going to be built. They're going to be tough because of this Big Ten division. I mean, you can honestly say that could be almost a fact. They're going to be built to win because of the tough teams they've had to battle. Okay.
Again, I'm sorry. They got Ohio State at the end of the month on the 30th, and I've been saying you keep saying how tough they are. I've been saying this to start the year, and even though they've lost a couple games, I still say that they're still a complete basketball team. They're complete. They're complete, just like Arizona is to me. And again, you're going to lose games. Like you had that weird game against Rutgers. They lost on a buzzer beater. Okay, that happens. It was a 2-point loss. They shouldn't have lost, but what are you going to do? And their other loss to Wisconsin. The Wisconsin team we're just talking about right now.
They're still playing hard.
Yeah, and they're 15-2, and they're 15-2, and they're 5th in the Big Ten. That's how good this conference is.
Right.
So we'll see. I like some of these games they got coming up. They got Ohio State, like I said. They got Illinois coming up again. They just played them. And then you got Michigan State and Wisconsin at the end of the year to close it out. So it's going to be
tough.
It's going to be tough for them, but it's going to be fun to watch.
Like I said, it's going to be like walking on hot coals and nails. Okay?
Yep.
That's what it's going to be.
And even like teams like Indiana, they're not bad either. Minnesota's kind of having a decent year. So they're 10-5 with Minnesota. So even these non-ranked matchups they have, they're going to be tough.
They're going to be really tough. But Mike, let's move on here. Let's finish this ranking. Sitting at number 2, man, Auburn. Auburn is they're 16-1. They're a full force team. They really are. They've only lost. I just said they only lost one game. That was come back to UConn way back early in the season. And UConn has since kind of fallen off a little bit.
That was a double overtime game.
Yeah, that was a double overtime game. UConn has. They were 5-0 when they won that game. They're still good, 11-4. They're ranked 25th. But, they, like we said, they've had some postponements and they lost some tough games. They lost a 3-point game to Seton Hall just recently. But they have some big games coming up as well for them. Butler and Georgetown are on their schedule, and those teams are always, basketball knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can get bounced back. But I'm more on Auburn. Auburn, they've had some tough teams before. They really have. And I don't know if this is the highest they've been ranked since Barkley has been there. I don't know.
It could be.
If it could be. It's definitely questionable.
I know the year Isaac Okoro was there, that was a COVID year, so he wasn't in a tournament, but they had a good team then. So the last couple of years, they really built themselves back up, but you really don't think them as a basketball school ever since Charles was there.
Oh, yeah. Very much so. They have some tough games coming up as well, and I think they're going to wipe the floor with them, honestly. They got Georgia. I think they can beat Kentucky.
I like that game, too. It's going to be fun.
I like that game.
This weekend.
That's going to be a big game. Yeah, that's this weekend. They get Alabama and Oklahoma coming up as well. So they have some games to build their team on, and these are going to be some tough games.
The Tennessee game at the end of the year is going to be fun, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah, definitely. So you have to look at them as another contender that can honestly possibly win a championship.
Yeah.
I think there's 2 big upsets, and honestly, I think Gonzaga and UCLA will probably be some upset. UCLA, like I said, is falling off, and you got to look at Gonzaga, yes, the teams they played, they've lost to, the tough teams. Yeah. Besides UCLA, they beat UCLA, But I mean, now you're looking at that like UCLA is kind of falling off now. I mean, how good is that win looking? Hopefully, if UCLA bounces back, I mean, it's going to make Gonzaga look a little bit better. But they should win every game from now on out because they're playing their division, and their division is weak. So I don't know. Hopefully, we can see something from them in the tournament. They are number one. They've been number one for a while over the years too. They've always been up there. But they've never won a championship though. You know, they made it there last year trying to get that undefeated season going, and it was halted. So I don't know what we see. It's definitely a different team. You don't have what was his name? Mike, help me out here.
Kispert and Suggs.
You do have a young Chet Holmgren. When he really becomes a player he's gonna be, look out.
Because they still have Drew Timme.
Still have Drew Timme. Timme's a great all-around player. But hopefully they can the easy games they play, hopefully they can experiment before. I've talked about that before, and learn new things, how to beat tougher teams. So maybe they can become better when they're playing bad teams. But we'll see. We'll see. It's always a question on them. It's always a question mark on them.
They just don't feel like –
yeah.
They kind of feel like – again, I'm not trying to bring my team. They feel like the Cowboys in football, honestly.
Gonzaga is our number one since we're talking about them.
They feel like the Cowboys in football, honestly, because they're having great. They have great seasons. They have great teams with great talent, but they just can't put it together.
They can't put it together. They haven't won a championship.
Yeah.
They don't have any championships. They've been in a couple, but they've lost them.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can, get a hold on this season and win some tournament games, and maybe they can get a championship.
I'd like to see him get one.
Yeah. I don't have anything against Gonzaga, but Auburn, I mean, tough team. We'll have to see more from them. But that's going to wrap up the top 10. So let's go ahead and we're still talking college basketball here. Let's move into the preview here of the game. A couple games we got this week. We got some time. We through just over a half an hour in the show here on a Tuesday.
Yep.
Hopefully everybody's still hanging in with us. But this game here should be a good game. Texas Tech Red Raiders, they've had some big upset wins, and they're taking on the Iowa State Cyclones, who have fallen off a little bit. We were high on them, but they've lost a couple here, 14-3 now. Texas Tech have upset some teams. So, I mean, what do you got here, Mike?
Yeah, they've upset some teams, but I don't even – again, you can call that Baylor win an upset, but it really didn't feel too much of an upset because – yeah, Baylor was, Baylor went before they lost that game, but Texas Tech's playing a lot. They're playing good basketball, Matt. And this matchup's fun because so is Iowa State. And I know, we've liked them all year. I know Alex liked them all year. It's a matchup of what, three loss team and a 4-loss team. So it's going to be a fun one tonight.
And the last time they faced Texas Tech did win this game, or they did lose this game. Iowa State did beat them last time, but then after that, Texas Tech pulled off wins against number 6 Kansas, number 1 Baylor. They did beat Oklahoma State. Then they lose to K-State, which how? You beat all these tough teams, and then you
lose to them.
Guys? So, I mean, it happens.
That's part of the game.
That's part of the game. You will win and you will lose. So they have some tough games coming up as well, like the Iowa State game we're talking about right now, then West Virginia, and then Kansas again after that. So, and then they have Texas. So coming up too. So if they can do this again, this will be something. Texas Tech will shoot up in the rankings. But Iowa State, yes, they have dropped a little bit. They were at number 5 last week.
They were at least top 10.
Yeah, now they've fallen off to 15th after of course losing to who'd they lose to? They lost a couple of big games. I know. It was up, then
they lost to Oklahoma and Kansas.
They
lost
beat Texas. Oklahoma and Kansas. They did beat Texas, but I mean, come on, Texas is good, but I don't think they have a complete team. But hopefully they can bounce back here in this game. But what do you think, Mike? They beat Texas Tech last time they played them. Can they do it again?
I like Texas Tech to get it this one. They're at home. They're going to remember what happened. That was only 2 weeks ago, so it's obviously fresh in their minds.
It was a close game too.
And again, I know Texas Tech lost to Kansas State, which is a bad loss, like you said. But I feel like they're playing more confident now. I feel like they probably overlooked Kansas State after that win against Baylor, which is understandable. It happens. But I got to go Texas Tech at home.
Yeah, I got to go Texas Tech as well. I think, Iowa State has lost a couple of games. They're kind of in that slump that we were talking about a little bit ago, and I think they're not going to get over in this game, but it might take a couple of games. But I got to go with the Red Raiders as well. So, but moving on here, next game.
I got to write these picks down. So I think Alek wanted them last time.
Oh, yeah, we should write these picks down.
I got to write mine down.
We both picked Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So
you want me to write yours down?
We can do the rankings. Yeah, write mine down for me. I don't have any paper up there.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so we did pick Texas Tech in that game. Moving on here, we got Tennessee playing Vanderbilt. This should be an easy pick. I mean, Tennessee's pretty good. They're 11-5. They're ranked 25th. Vanderbilt, though, 10-6. Kind of similar records here. This could be a potential upset, honestly. My bad. I didn't take this seriously.
I'm sorry. What game you have? I was writing that down.
This is Vanderbilt versus –
Okay.
It's the Vanderbilt game. Vanderbilt, I mean, they lost some games. They lost to Loyola Chicago. And Loyola Chicago, by the way, is ranked now. They're ranked 22nd. So let's go Ramblers. But Tennessee, I mean, this should be a pretty tough game. I mean, they faced some tough games and kind of hung in with them. They hung in with Kentucky, only lost 78-66. That's not too bad. But I think Tennessee is just that all-around good. I mean, they're an all-around solid team, and I think it's gonna show in this game. I think Vanderbilt stays close, but I think Tennessee will pull away at the end. What do you think, Mike?
I agree with you. I think Tennessee's just a better team. Vanderbilt, give them credit, 10-6 season. I really didn't even know they were 10-6 till right now because I haven't really been paying attention to them.
Me either.
But 10-6, they're 6 in the SEC. That's not bad. SEC's a strong conference. But I think Tennessee's obviously a better team, and I think they're going to get one tonight. On the road, any win in the conference is tough. On the road is a tough one, so this one's on the road. I like them in this one.
Yeah, me too. So let's go ahead and move on here. We got about 20 minutes left in the show here. We talk about some more games here. But next game, Kansas versus Oklahoma. This is going to be a tough one. Oklahoma, they're 12-5. They just dropped off of the rankings, but I mean, they're still a solid team. They're 7th in the Big 12, but they did lose some games. They lost to Baylor. They did beat Iowa State, but they lost to Texas and then TCU. So they've dropped some games. Kansas should be a team that is. I mean, they're going to play them hard. I don't know if Oklahoma can overcome that. I like this Oklahoma team. I like what they've done. I like their first-year head coach. I've talked a lot about Porter Moser because what he did at Loyola Chicago. But, I mean, Kansas is just a tough team. And, I mean, they've lost some tough games already. So there's no really anything here that tells us, hey, they can pull this off. I mean, you never know. I mean, we're just guys sitting in our bedrooms. What do we know? But, I mean, Oklahoma,
literally.
Look at the tough team. Yeah, look at the tough teams they played. I mean, they lost to Baylor. They did beat Iowa State, but Iowa State is in that slump we were talking about.
Yep.
They lose to Texas, and they lose to TCU. I know Texas is ranked, but like I said a minute ago, I don't think they have all the pieces yet on that team. So I don't know. I'm going to go with Kansas here. I like Oklahoma. I got to stick with Kansas, though. I think it's going to be a close game now. It's going to be within 10 points. I'll give them that. But I got to go Kansas. Gotta go Kansas.
I want to think it's gonna be a close game, but every time I do, it isn't.
Yeah.
So obviously I like Kansas in this game. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe for obviously the beginning, Oklahoma might keep it a game because they might be fired up, but I don't think it's gonna last. I think Kansas is gonna win by at least 15, I don't know, 10, 12 points, maybe more than that.
10, 12, something like that. But
not a blowout, but a good enough.
No, not a blowout, but a solid win, solid victory. So we're both taking Kansas in this game over Oklahoma.
Yep, I'm writing them.
All right. Why don't you write that down for a second there? But
no, go ahead.
All right, next game here. This is our last game that we're previewing here for college basketball. We have West Virginia Mountaineers. Mike, we've been high on them. We have been high on the Mountaineers. They have lost a couple games. They're 13-3. They're still a solid team. I really believe they are. They did lose to Kansas. Wait,
hold on. Keep talking one minute. Let me grab something. Go ahead.
Okay. They did blow out Kansas here. But they have a tough game coming up here. They have Baylor. I mean, they're taking on Baylor. This is going to be a key game for them to possibly pick up, honestly. Baylor, they've lost a couple games. I still think they're an all-star team here. I really do. I think they could possibly go back and win the championship again. But, hey, every team's got to go through their slump. I'm going to pick the upset here. Mike, I don't know if you're there. Mike,
no, I'm here.
I got to go upset here. I got to go with Mountaineers. I think they can possibly upset Baylor. It's going to be a tight game. I'm just going out on a limb here. I think West Virginia can do. I know they kind of got blown out by Kansas, but Baylor, they kind of got them in a slump right now. So it's tricky. I gotta go upset here. I gotta go West Virginia.
It doesn't feel right to do it twice, but I just love West Virginia. I don't know why.
I love West Virginia. I love Bob Huggins.
Again, I don't know if I'm confident in it. I think they can win it, but it's Baylor. I expect them to bounce back.
I'm not 100%, but I got a hunch. I have a hunch.
West Virginia is a tough place to play. It gets loud in there. When it's a team like this, it's going to be extra juiced up. That's why I went away. I brought this out. I should have wore it today.
Oh, West Virginia shirt.
Should have wore it, but
should have wore it.
I didn't realize we were talking about this game until just now, but I got to go West Virginia. I don't think it feels right for both of us to pick them, but why not?
I know. Alek is probably going Baylor, but I mean, we got to go West Virginia. If you want to write that down, we're going to move out of here of college basketball and go into the NBA. If we have time, I will have time. We'll talk Timberwolves and Knicks first, and then we'll talk about our Cavs. So,
absolutely.
Timberwolves are taking on the New York Knicks. They're both pretty much the same record. Timberwolves are 21-22. Knicks are 22-22. But what do you got here, Mike? I mean, Knicks have kind of been almost an upset, honestly. That huge run they had last year. Now
they've been a letdown.
They really have, and it kind of stinks because I like seeing that Knicks team finally do good last year because they've had a lot of bad teams, a lot.
I do too, but it was nice to see them back. But I don't like big market teams. I know I'm a Cowboy fan, but other than that, I don't like big market teams.
No, me
so
either.
It was good to see them competitive again. But yeah, they've had a letdown this year, and it is disappointing because they had a good year last year. They had a good free agency. They picked up some
letdown is Atlanta as well.
That's another one I was just going to say, and they both played each other in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
and I know they're game under 500, but I didn't really realize Minnesota was playing that good this year.
Yeah,
they've been competitive. We saw them against Cavs. Cavs blew them out, but they beat some teams like the Lakers. I know the Lakers aren't great, but they beat some decent teams, and they're competitive. They're around 500. Stay around that in the Western Conference this year because it's not as strong at the bottom half as it has been years past. So if they could stay around there and get some wins, they'll be a playing team.
All right. So who are you picking here?
Give me Soda.
I'm gonna go Timberwolves as well. I think they can. They have a solid team. Karl Anthony Towns is playing pretty good. I mean, D'Angelo Russell, I like him as well, and I think they're going to catch the Knicks off guard here a little bit. I think
Knicks got some guys out too. I mean, they got Derrick Rose out. They got Cam Reddish. They just got him, but he's out. Kemba Walker's out. Right, he's a game time decision. He might play, but Nerlens Noel's out. Let's see what Minnesota's got. Minnesota really has nothing out. Really nothing at all. So they're pretty much healthy.
I gotta go with them. Gotta go the Timberwolves here in this game. It should be a pretty good game.
Yeah.
So, but let's go ahead here. Let's talk about our Cavs team. What a heck of a win we had last night. I know the Nets didn't have Kevin Durant.
Who cares?
They still had James Harden and Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving took a lane right down the middle, and 5-6 years ago, that would have been an up and an in, Mike.
Yeah.
It would have been in, but Evan Mobley was just there waiting for him, and he slapped that out of there. Just saying, get it out. Get out of here, old man. You're washed.
I still like Kyrie, though.
I can't.
He's nuts. He's crazy. He
crazy.
aggravates me with that stuff, but I miss him.
These players are starting to get old, and I mean, Harden and even Kevin Durant and Irving, and they're getting on their latter NBA careers. Yeah. And LeBron is too, and we're starting to see the new wave of stars. And Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are definitely a part of that.
Yeah, definitely
a part of that new wave. What unbelievable win last night! But they got to play the Bulls here. The Bulls lost last night to a very tough Memphis team. Memphis blew them out. Like they beat the hell out of them.
I think we all picked Memphis too.
Yeah, we did. They're a solid team. The Bulls are in a slump here. Cavs are 27-18. Bulls are 27-15. So Cavs can just inch closer and closer to the division lead and the number 1 seed in the NBA. How crazy would that sound? The Cavs would be a number 1 seed without LeBron?
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but it's not out of the question at all.
It might happen for a little bit, like just to see him get it for a week.
They got as high as 3, I think, so far this year.
Yeah, they got as high as 3. They're making a run again. I mean, they have some tough games coming up. I mean, they have some easy games coming up, honestly. So we'll see what we can see from our Cavs here, Mike. They got the Bulls coming up.
Matt, back to yesterday's game. I know you talked about KD wasn't playing, but they still had Kyrie and Harden.
Yeah.
And again, this is a difference I keep bringing up between this team this year, who they have, and what they've had the last couple of years. Because it doesn't matter if this game was last year or 2 years ago without KD, they still would have lost. This year, that matters because this year I know you're missing a guy like Kevin Durant, but years past they still would have lost this. They're showing growth, and this game was close. Kyrie was making big shots, he was making some big plays, and they didn't fold like they normally would in years past. And I've seen that with a lot of games this year with them, and that's what sticks out to me because they talk about after every game that they want to earn respect around teams around the league, and they're doing it.
Yep, they definitely are. They have some tough games. I mean, they have the Bulls game, and then they have Oklahoma City. So they have a couple of these games. New York, we just previewed their game. Very winnable games. Then they got a tough one against Milwaukee, and that one might be overtaking them. I think they already did. They're tied with them right now, I believe. Yeah. Let me check on that. Go ahead and talk more about them.
Well, I think. What are you checking the standings?
Yeah, I'm checking the standings.
But yeah, even with Milwaukee,
They did pass Milwaukee. They're 27-18. Milwaukee is 27-19. So they passed Milwaukee last night for the 4 seed, and they're just, I mean, they're moving on up. They're a game and a half out of first in the NBA on the Eastern side. I mean, I like this Miami team too. Miami is kind of a surprise. They dropped off last year. The year before they made it all the way to the finals.
Yeah.
But this year, I mean, they've reemerged. So look out for the Heat too. So Cavs and Heat are dangerous teams. Isn't that kind of silly to be saying that? Cavs and Heat, former teams of LeBron. Look
good.
At his
yeah,
team right
and
now.
his Lakers suck. I love it.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
By the way, I need one more win. If the Cavs win tomorrow night, they play Chicago, right?
Yeah.
If they win tomorrow night, that'll be 28 wins. I'll get over my win total. I said it was 27.5. I'll be over it.
All right. Well,
but that's pretty shocking. I think they get 28 wins at the halfway point of the year. It like 42, 43 games in. Heck no. I thought they'd be competitive this year, and I thought they would get over 27.5 wins. But this early,
they've been in the playoff race this whole year.
And we're already halfway through the year. That's pretty hard to believe, too.
We're halfway through the year. Yeah.
Over halfway, because we hit the 41 mark last week. But again, it's like they got to play Milwaukee coming up. They got to play Chicago. Some of these other tough teams in the division, outside of the division. And, going in like years past, it's like, oh, they're going to lose. They're going to get killed. But I don't feel that anymore.
Now it's like, I feel like the Cavs can win these games.
Like going into tomorrow night, I feel like, it's on the road in Chicago. They might lose. But I don't feel like they're going to get destroyed. Like it's actually fun to watch.
A competitive game.
They probably got blown out like once or twice this year, if that. They really haven't gotten destroyed at all.
No.
So if you're going to lose, fine. But they're at least they're losing, trying.
Yeah, they're trying very hard,
and they're succeeding.
Very much so, and I can't wait to watch more of them in this year. Hopefully, I just keep praying, just hang on, because a lot of those teams drop off after the All-Star break. I know the All-Star break is in Cleveland.
They just feel different, though, Matt.
I know. It feels different.
I heard JB Bickerstaff's press conference after the game yesterday. I'll be quick.
Yeah.
And he's just like, there's just a genuine feeling with the guys that they don't want to let, like, Darius Garland doesn't want to let Isaac Okoro down. Okoro doesn't want to let, Mobley down. Like, they all play for each other. And if they mess up, they actually feel bad for messing up for each other. They care about each other, and they care about winning with each other.
They've had some players out too. No Sexton, and now no Ricky Rubio, but they have stepped up. Rajon Rondo's came in, has done a good job playing with these guys.
Stevens is insane, and I like Goodwin too. Goodwin has been filling in pretty well as too. So look out for these teams. Osman is doing good. Kevin Love off the bench is sweet. Watching him yesterday, I got one thing on him
Kevin
too.
Love feels young. Like he feels young again. I bet playing with all these guys. They probably all look up to him too. Like, oh, Grandpa Love, he's got the most gray hair on the team. I bet. Because I mean, JB Bickerstaff has gray in his beard, but he's bald.
But the thing with Love though is like people are like, oh, just trade him because this is the highest his.
I'm glad we kept him.
His stock. People are like, oh, trade him at deadline because it's the highest his value is going to be the rest of his contract. No, I don't do that because here's number one. He's probably the best bench player right now outside of Osman, and it's like, okay, he has a big deal. We were trying to get rid of him. Now they're actually competitive, and he's playing good ball. So keep him because let him finish out his contract in a place he's spent more than half his career at on a winning team. Because that's what they are right now. They're competitive.
2014, 15, he's been here. He's been here for a while now. A lot of people don't realize that. A lot of people thought, oh, he'll just be here for LeBron's tenure and be gone. This is like his team now, and a lot of people forget, like, hey, he did play for Minnesota. They don't remember that anymore.
Who would have thought out of LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love that he'd be the last one standing there?
Yeah, really.
Because how many times when they were good, people say, oh, they need to trade him for like Paul George or somebody, and he's the one that's still there.
And Kyrie was traded and LeBron left. He's still hanging around. I have that championship shirt. He's the only one that's still on that team.
He is. Everybody else is gone.
He's the only one left. Everyone's gone. Yep. But coming in your final 8 minutes of the show, let's move on into some hockey. Mike, we got to talk about the Penguins here. We'll preview this game here real quick, and then we'll talk about our Penguins. Right?
Yeah, I got something to say with them.
Me too. Oh, yeah, we always do. But Tampa Bay Lightning versus the LA Kings should be a pretty good game. I think the Tampa Bay Lightning are a pretty solid team, but so are the Kings. Kings beat the Penguins a couple games ago.
I think it was over the weekend.
Honestly, I think I'm going to take the upset here. I think the Kings we can finally get past. Seeing what they played like against the Penguins, I think they can take that into this game and upset the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. I think they can do it. I'm not going with any algorithm or anything. I'm just going with my gut here. You writing that down?
Yeah.
Or who are you going with here in this
You got
game?
The Kings, right?
Yeah, I'm going with the Kings in this game.
I'm going to go with Tampa.
Different. Yeah, I just want to kind of be different.
I like the LA Kings team a lot. I like this team. They played good against Pittsburgh. That was a good game. And they're doing some good things. They're 20-14 with 5 ties, but somebody's got to pick the defending champs. Good, so and you know what? Tampa Bay has felt like they've been good this year. Don't get me wrong, 26-9, but nobody's really been talking about them for some reason. So they kind of had a slow start. They lost to Pittsburgh opening night. They lost them after that, and nobody's really talked about them since then. No. At least I haven't heard any, and I haven't read about too much. But
you see on that Eastern Conference, teams like Florida and Tampa. I mean, they're tied for points. I mean, I think that Eastern Conference is kind of soft. You have Buffalo in there. Toronto is they're good. They have 51 points, but Buffalo's are. But they always stink. They got the Senators and the Canadians over there. You coming over onto the Metropolitan? We got 4 teams fighting for the top spot. We have the Rangers, the Hurricanes, Pittsburgh, and the Capitals. Okay,
and don't count Columbus out either.
Yeah, they're at 35 points. They're a ways back, but I mean, Capitals and Pittsburgh are tied at 51. Okay, and then you have the Hurricanes at 52, and then the Rangers at 54. Yeah, they're all tight wrapped around each other.
Yeah,
this is a tough division. It really is one of the toughest. You look over in the Western Conference as well, with the Blues and the Avalanche and the Predators. They're all close too, even the Wild. So look out for teams like that. Yes, you have your front runners. Florida and Tampa Bay are definitely are. Yeah. But look at the teams in the tough divisions. They might be a more solid team because
and like you said, out west too. Colorado's good. They're 25-8, but Colorado's a team that they normally get in the playoffs thinking, hey, they're going to make a run the last couple of years, and they haven't done it. We'll see if that changes. St. Louis won a title 2 years ago. Nashville they were good a couple years ago. So the West is loaded too.
Yeah, but Penguins, like I just said, we just tied the Capitals last night with a win against the Golden Knights, a tough team. There's the Golden Knights, always good, and we came out and beat them. We have some easy games coming up ahead. We should definitely win. Definitely against the Senators. I think we play Arizona too, so we should definitely win those games. We could be. Don't blink now. Pittsburgh could be in first here very soon. Very soon.
It's just that quick. They can get in first in one game too, because they're only 3 points back.
They could. So
we'll see. But yeah, you want to talk about last night?
They have some tough games. They have Philly. They have. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, but I mean, they got to play Columbus. Columbus is always tough to play. The Jets are always tough to play. Then you got Arizona and Seattle. And then, I mean, Detroit is tough. Detroit is around that 500 mark again, but it'll be good to see them. February 26th is a game to look at. We got to play the Rangers, and then even before that, we have to play the Capitals again.
Yeah.
So there's some tough games we got coming up this month. We got to play in 3 games in a row. We got to play Tampa Bay, Carolina, and Florida. So those are tough teams. So hopefully we can get past them. And, you know, I mean, I've been saying they're top contenders here this whole year. So let's prove me right, Pittsburgh, please. I love their players. I've talked about Rodriguez before and the rest of the players, but hopefully we see more from our Penguins, Mike. But if you don't have anything else, that's going to wrap up this show here today.
I mean, quickly though, with the Penguins last night, I saw the first quarter down 3-0, and I turned it on. And they were talking about him after the first period, and I was like, they might come back. They'll probably lose. They rip off 5 goals, and they win 5-3. They're just
unbelievable.
They're just playing.
Sick.
They're playing. You can't make some of the stuff up,
man. They're playing mean.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about them more in the coming.
I was going to wear my jersey too today, but
I needed.
I still got the puck. I leave it on my desk.
Jersey. Yeah, I almost wore my Cavs jersey, but I'm like, I got to rip the Penguins. But that's going to wrap it up here for the Casual Sports Report. I'm Matt Morrison, and that's Mike Wolfgang. Alek should be back in here tomorrow. Everybody have a good day, and we'll see you later.